Okay, well, welcome back to the Car podcast, and it's been a little while, but we're leading into Christmas now, so we're coming into the summer. It's nice and hot, and because it's been a little while, we got a few things to talk about.
Yeah, it's been a bit crazy the last couple of months. I can't remember if the last time we did it was just before I went away on my holiday, but yeah, the episodes are come out now, and I think they did pretty well. But as always, I'm Lachlan from Kashy. This is Matt from Auto One. Check us out through our various social media channels. And if you hear a little bit of clip clocking around in the background, that's Matt's cute little dog called Toffee, who's just had an operation. So
She's in recovery.
Keep an eye on her.
Yep. She's a little patient, but she's one of our audience today. She's just sitting underneath the camera watching us. So good to have a live audience.
Yeah, it's very nice.
So might start off today by talking about some cars that are kind of new and interesting and exciting.
Yeah, just some new car news has come through, and something I've seen on the road a lot lately, which I hadn't really heard about or I'd forgotten existed. Ineos Grenadier.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, same thing. I remember hearing maybe when they first came out. Are they British or where are they from?
I'm not sure where they're from, and I haven't done enough research on them at all.
Yep.
But what I do know is they're a Defender lookalike. They use a BMW 6-cylinder petrol or diesel, and they're a live axle 4-wheel drive.
Cool.
So one of the only ones on the market now.
So BMW transmission as well?
I'd assume so. A ZF sort of transmission, something like that.
Because I've seen pictures inside the cabin.
Yeah.
Or video inside the cabin, and they've got the BMW gear lever.
Yeah, the weirdly shaped one.
Yeah, and it just looks out of place because everything's so utilitarian and so function based, but not style based. And then you got this kind of stylish BMW looking gear lever in there.
Yeah, it's a bit crazy.
And that's the 6-cylinder inline 6 3-litre petrol.
Yes, and they've got a diesel.
They got a diesel.
Petrol.
Okay. Yep.
I think it might. I wonder if it's the same B58 motor that's in the Supra.
I think so. Yeah. I think it is the B58.
So,
thereabouts, and it's capable motor.
Supra SUV.
So 0 to 100 is a bit over 8 seconds.
That's not
bad. But I've got a mate, and he's got a 330 or 335 BMW, similar engine or same engine. And this is back when I used to have a Skyline GTR, and he would whoop me with his BMW. He's far more modified than mine, but he would just leave me for dead. So there's some true potential in those engines.
Yeah, I think turbo intake headers and a little bit of fiddling with the computer gets you a big boost in power on those.
Yep.
Actually, that's one of the blog posts we did recently, which should touch on because it's pretty interesting.
We'll throw a link in the video as well, somewhere. Yep.
Something you've probably noticed, but I see more and more of now is people keep changing their intakes and exhaust, but it gets no real gain.
Yep.
Whereas the tuning and the turbo side of things really, that's where you get the actual power now.
Yeah. So, I think that's why people like turbos. Hey, it's sort of. I'm not sure if you consider it easy power, but it's just a little bit more accessible, I suppose.
If you look at the 2 generations ago of turbos, where you could just increase the boost pressure and increase the fuel a little bit, and you'd end up with a lot more power. That's probably why people love them so much.
Yeah. Cool.
But most of the new petrol, just NA cars, are pretty well tuned from factory, so adding an intake and an exhaust to them,
it's not a big gain.
Yeah, I did a good bit of research, and I think on a Nissan 370Z, the horsepower gain from a cold air intake couldn't be measured.
I thought you were going to say minus something.
No, and the horsepower gain from a set of long tube exhaust headers was something like 4 horsepower.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow. So
good.
quite well tuned. But that's towards the end of that car's life cycle. So maybe they started with something that's a little bit average, bad headers, bad intake, and then as they incrementally bring out the new models and improve them. I know, like with the MX-5, when you went from NA to NB, the NAs, I'm just going off memory here a little bit. I think the NAs, they had better extractors but worse intakes, and then the NBs was the other way around.
Yeah, I've seen under the bonnet of a few MX-5s. And the early generations don't look very well sorted for the intake sort of thing.
Yep.
But yeah, if you're buying one of these new Eneos Grenadiers,
Yep.
very interested to see how they go. And
How much are they?
I don't know, but I'm gonna say they're over 100. That'd be my.
Rules me out.
What's the? My Price is Right is 100.
100, I think it's going to be north of 100. I think it's going to be cheaper than a G-Wagon.
Yeah.
But more expensive than a 70 series.
It'll want to be cheaper than a G-Wagon.
Yeah, they're a serious piece of kit. But I was having a bit of a look into them, and they got some seriously cool stuff. So they got diff lockers, front, back, center, from the factory. Well, I think you can option them up to the hills, so they're quite configurable. They've got the accessory rails on the doors. Have you seen those? It's like a C-channel accessory rail.
Yeah, it's
like you put in a ute bed or something like that.
It's the same sort of stuff. It's like a shovel mounting system.
Yep. And you just clip it in, whatever, on the doors.
Yeah, perfect.
On the doors, it's got barn door, back doors. It's got the switch panel going up on the top console.
And the interiors do look very nice for a newer SUV.
You can get what is it? Are they Sparker or Recaro or leather seats and
all Alcantara covered.
Yeah,
all the goodies.
So it sort of it looks utilitarian, but it is sort of aimed at the top end of the market.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, cool car. Really cool.
The last few years of Defender were exactly that. And the G-Wagon's the same example.
And what do they say about Land Cruisers, Land Rovers? Land Rovers will get you into the bush. The Land Cruiser will get you back out.
Yeah, and if there's no oil under it, there's no oil in it.
I like that. Words to live by. Oh dear. The other one that I've had a look at recently, and I don't think you've seen it, but if you get a chance, have a look at this car. This is the Cutterham Project V. So when we think Cutterhams, we think like Lotus 7 replicas or the Clubman kit cars or that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So they've done a coupe, and this thing, I wish I could show you a photo, but I don't have a screen to show you. But it looks something like a mixture between maybe a Porsche and a Marcos or something like that, or maybe a bit like the Alpine coupe that's come out recently.
Is it a little low-slung cabins in the rear? Looks sort of like a Boxster if the cabin was further back.
Yeah, it could be a little bit Boxerish. Yeah. And so it is electric, but one thing that they've done, which the other electric cars don't seem to do very well, is they've saved weight, which is, it's the ethos of Cutterham. So 1,100 kilos for a battery car. It doesn't have an overly impressive battery or motor pushing it. It's just lightweight.
It doesn't have to. I mean, electric motors make...
Weight does the trick.
Electric motors make 500 newton meters of torque at 0 RPM. And they make 500 newton meters of torque at 13,000 RPM. It's more torque than you'd know what to do with an 1,100 kilo car.
Yeah, it's such a light car. Yeah, that's right. So I think it's 0 to 100 is 4.5 seconds. So it's still quick enough to get in trouble.
Surprised they've gone down the full EV route instead of just going mixed or mixed hybrid. But they've released a new SUV as well, the Emira.
Oh, Lotus?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking Lotus and Caterham.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
In my mind, they're the same company.
Well, the Emira is the sport car, but have they been working on a SUV?
Yeah, Lotus has come out with an all-electric SUV as well.
So they're doing the Porsche thing. They're okay. Well, look, if it means they stick around for longer, the company's going to be healthy and keep making these cool cars, why not?
Those are sort of like 4 companies that I love to see on the road still. Morgan.
Yep.
If you ever see them. Lotus, Caterham, and there's one other one which I can't think of right now.
Yep.
But one car I'd love to see on Australian roads that will never happen, Ariel Atom.
Oh, yeah. There are some over here.
There are?
Yeah. And, I forgot the name of it, but they made like a more buggy, more off-road style version.
The Nomad.
Yes, you know where I'm going with this one. Super cool car.
Yep.
I don't think that's over here.
No, I don't think that.
Yeah, and maybe they're just the ones that are over here, maybe track only. I'm not sure if they're registered or not, but I have seen one for sale before.
Yeah, I think in all the cars that I've ever driven, the nicest cars are always very lightweight and modest power.
Fun, yeah, good fun. Cool. Well, the other one that I know you've seen this one is the Hilux Champ. Now this is a variation of the Hilux, and it's slightly smaller than what we get over here, but it looks vastly. It does not look like a Hilux.
Yeah.
How would you describe it?
This is going to sound horrible. It looks like the unfortunate combination of a 75 series cruiser and a GW Great Wall Tank 300.
Yep.
Yeah, it's got that like square line, but bubbly edges. Which,
which is weird, isn't it? Yeah. But they've shown some good kit outs where people have set them up for camping. So it is like a single cab, large tray. So and also like food trucks or like a mobile retail outlet or something like that. So which is pretty cool.
I think that's what's missing in a lot of new utes is we're getting bigger and bigger but less usable.
Yep.
So smaller trays, bigger interiors. Whereas, I mean, we recently did a Japan trip and all of the trucks there basically are K trucks. They're only a few meters long, 1.5 meters wide sort of thing.
Yep.
But they're all tray and just a tiny cabin.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's cool. Well, it's a bit like our friend has one of these K trucks, is it? K van?
Yeah.
K van.
Yeah.
And then he's changed the front end so it looks a little bit like a Mini.
Yeah, that's another blog post we've got, but check them out. They're an awesome little team at Twice Upon a Time.
Twice Upon a Time, yeah, they got this. And they came along to the car show that we had recently with Project B. So, they were there and they've got like a steering wheel in the shape of a love heart. It's all this real Japanese cutesy sort of stuff, isn't it?
We fitted all that stuff up for them. The only thing...
A chandelier?
We did the underglow as well, which is something I wouldn't normally do, but Hugo's a good friend, so may as well just
help him out,
deal with it.
Yep. So if you are ever out in the Brisbane car scene, you're quite likely to see Hugo in his pink, was it a mirror?
Mirror van. Walk-through.
Yep, walk-through van.
Yeah.
Twice Upon a Time. So shout out to those guys. What else have we seen that's new out there? I think the other thing I wanted to talk about is the new 70 series short wheelbase.
Yeah, I don't get it.
You don't get it?
I
don't
don't
like
get
a
it.
shorty?
I'm not sure if I like it yet.
Yep.
As far as it goes with 70 series cruisers, all that sort of smaller SUVs, I'd rather see a long wheelbase Jimny than I would see a short wheelbase 70.
I'm just trying to picture a long wheelbase Jimny. It'd be like a trip carrier Jimny.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
cool.
It's not that I dislike the engine out of the 2.8 Hilux.
Yep.
It's not my favourite, but they're going to put the same 2.8 litre engine in the new Shorty.
Yep.
And I've just got some questions about that.
So, as a mechanic, what have you seen with the Toyota 2.8 litre?
I've heard of various DPF issues, which should be sorted out in the current generation.
Yep.
I've heard of a lot of timing chain rattles. I think you said you'd heard of quite a few cases of blow-by with them.
Yep.
It's just a whole bunch of little things that all add up. But my least favourite thing, we go back to episode whenever it was when we talked to Mike, the engineer.
Yep.
Just engineering faux pas. And one of the things in the 2.8 Hilux they do is they put the oil filter straight over the chassis rail.
Yep.
Yeah.
How annoying.
Yeah, and certain cars you can understand that. Right? Like your car has the oil filters placed in a weird spot, but the engine was not initially designed for that car.
Yeah, everything's shoehorned in. Yeah.
But the 2.8 litre diesel in the new Hilux was sort of made for that car. It's the first time we ever saw it, and they still managed to put the oil filter
in a weird,
where it's going to spill over
Yep,
everything.
it's going to get messy and,
Just a faux pas.
not fun.
Yep.
sometimes, Toyota have to service the cars, don't they? And they didn't even consider their life servicing it after making that decision.
I guess not. But you seem to quite like it. What's the shape does wonders for you?
Look, I just like things that are different. So you see more of the other, so it's the lesser seen sort of things that attract me. But it reminds me of a penny car. You remember the penny cars back in the day?
I can't even think of it.
I used to, showing my age, but back in yesteryear, you used to get these little pushback cars. You push them back and they take off. But you put a penny in the back of them, and they do a wheelie.
I'd never seen that.
They're penny cars, yeah.
I didn't think you were old enough for pennies.
A 5-cent car?
Yes. So what? It's a 2-door.
Yep, 2-door.
So kind of like the old Pajero IQ.
Yeah. So Mitsubishi did it with the Pajero. Toyota's done it with the Prado. I'm sure there's plenty more that I'm missing. I'm pretty sure I've seen patrol ones over in the UAE. I'm not sure if that's the way they came or if someone chopped them or whatever. But
no, they definitely did do a 2-door patrol.
Yep.
But if it actually is significantly shorter, that's probably a big game changer, because one of the worst things for 4-wheel driving is your breakover angle, which is if you draw a V between the lowest point in the chassis and the bottom of the wheel.
Yep.
Basically, if your wheelbase is extended, the breakover angle greatly reduces.
Yep. Gotcha. Yep.
So that's one of the reasons that Jimneys are so good off road, and the same with Unimogs. Their chassis sit really high up.
So high.
The wheels are together, and the overhangs on each end are really short.
There you go. Physics.
Yeah. Math.
Math. So next time you're considering your off-road trip, consider those things as well. That's why we're out there lifting vehicles to perform better off-road. And you're talking about the live axle on the Grenadier as well.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Live axle on most of the Land Cruisers too.
Cruisers, yep.
Land Cruisers did have a problem with the front bearings on the 79s needed re-greasing quite consistently, but I think it was because they had a friend who's a Toyota trained, and he said his theory was that they were overloaded for the bearing size.
Gotcha. Yep.
So I wonder if by putting a lighter engine, shorter wheelbase, they're actually going to have a better service life.
Take that pressure off. Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on to sport.
Yeah. That's your favourite bit.
Yeah. Well, I've been following the Formula One, and I was away. We get this one race that is suitable hours for us here in Australia, and we get 2 races really. And Las Vegas is one of them.
Yeah. It
was at a reasonable time, but I was not near a TV when it was on, so I missed it.
And it was basically on our Saturday as well, wasn't it?
What did it? Well, the quali was the normal day for us. So I guess when we usually watch it, it's like a Monday morning or something like that. The race was on the Sunday night. The quali. So I did catch up on it, so I do know what happened. The quali was the Saturday night, but because was it Sainz? With the ground effects of these Formula One cars. They worked on popping out this manhole cover, and then he was the poor bugger that drove over it when it was exposed and did some damage to the car.
Was that Q1 or was that free practice one?
Yeah, not too sure when exactly it happened. Yeah,
crazy.
Did you catch
and
it?
You look at the footage of it, it doesn't look like much is going on, but it destroys the back of that car.
Oh yeah.
So I think he got away quite lucky. If it was able to tear
lucky there wasn't an injury, for sure.
If it was able to tear through the drivetrain, the carbon monocoque, all the rear suspension, there's probably not too much that was between. And
his bum's probably about that close to the ground as well.
It might have knocked him in the butt on the way through.
Yeah,
but
that's it.
Do you hear the crazy bit about the Sainz manhole incident?
No, tell me.
Because they had a drivetrain replacement, even though it was not related to them at all, they had a five position grid penalty. even though Las Vegas and Formula One didn't set up the track properly, he still got a penalty for replacing.
Ferrari can't get a break, can they?
Oh, they do it to themselves.
They do it to themselves most of the time. This time it's been done to them. Wow. Oh well, that's quite bad. But yeah, it ran into the for them. It ran into the hours of the morning.
Yeah.
This qualification session because they had to wait for the fixing up of the manhole and making sure everything was okay. So it was unusual for them because they had Formula One, which is they're loud. They got all the hotels around there, which is a party city, so they can get away with it. So they had all of that happening, but they had no one in the stands because it was in the early hours of the morning for them.
Yeah, well...
Good for us, though. Timing's perfect.
I was listening to a podcast and they actually said that the stands were busier than expected. And I think Las Vegas is probably the only place where an early morning race would work because there's a lot of nightlife anyway.
Yep, for sure.
But it was crazy. Like, everyone was putting this race down to start, and I actually was hopeful that it'd be good, and it turned out better than expected.
So, I think the overtakes on that street track, mind you, was better than overtakes at Abu Dhabi and other purpose. Oh yeah,
anything's better than Monaco.
Yeah, anything's better than that. Yeah, so it was better than purpose-built racetracks in terms of overtakes, which is what we want to see.
Yeah,
yeah.
And there was just crazy stuff going on all the time, and some things that you could actually root for. I only ever watch the highlights because I can't get to sit down for that whole thing.
Yep.
But it was one of the most enjoyable things. And I listened to a podcast, and two of the people that are on the podcast went to the race this year, and they said it was probably one of the better ones in the calendar.
Oh, wow. Cool.
So
one day go to that one. Yeah.
But
so Max took it out. Max secured the champ. Well, it's all over now. We've had Abu Dhabi was the final race, and after that Abu Dhabi was really pretty boring.
Bit of a
letdown. Yeah. Where's Michael Massey when you need to make a boring race interesting again?
Yeah, he would have told him to go motor racing.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. I think maybe something's in there. They might need Massey back in Formula One, and bring fun back into Formula One.
Should we make that a hashtag make Massey great again?
Yeah. That's it. Yep, let's bring them back because races without them just not the same, are they?
Yeah, no, there's no craziness. I miss that little bit of craziness.
Yeah. And everyone's annoyed that Max is winning every race out there and it's too dominant and all this sort of stuff. But we had the same thing when Hamilton was doing that, and we were all complaining. And Maxi came along and sorted it out.
Schumacher before that.
Schumacher, it just happens. And the thing although I see with Red Bull this year is if you double Perez's total, he's still nowhere near Max. So Max is doing a superb, good car, great driver.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think Perez is a lot better driver than people give him cause for, but I think he's probably gotten in his own head the last half of the year.
Yeah, struggle
really
city
sucks.
for him.
But I'll take it back. I know in one of our earlier episodes I said that Max was not my favourite. This year has really brought me around to him, which...
What was it? What brought you across?
Well, it's just now that he's winning...
Jumping on the bandwagon, I see, mate. Yep, okay.
Now that he's winning, he's getting a little bit more airtime.
Yep.
And when he gets that little bit more airtime, some of his personality's been allowed to show through.
Gotcha.
That's really made the difference. So he's actually really dry and quite funny at times.
Yep.
And I think it's hard not to like someone who has literally broken almost every record for a season.
Yep.
So first 1,000 leading lap season.
Wow.
He's won like 85% of every races. There was only one race that Red Bull didn't win of the whole season. He had the longest and the fourth longest winning streak in history in the same season.
Wow.
It's just, when you go all those things, it's one of those things that will be very difficult to ever replicate. To replicate or improve on this season, you basically have to win.
I think they can do it. I think they can do it again next year because they as soon as the championship was pretty much wrapped up, all development on that car stopped and they would have moved across to the new car. Meanwhile, the other teams are still developing current year car and Red Bull have a head start.
I think that's you're jumping on the bandwagon there. You're just such a Max fan. You want him to win forever.
I don't mind Max. Look, I respect him pretty early on, but one thing I didn't like Red Bull during the Webber years.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved when he was there, but when the moment Webber left, I thought, I'm giving up on Formula One for a little while.
Yeah.
Didn't like the way they treated him. I'll just go for whatever team is trying to knock him down.
It felt like when Webber cycled through, it felt like a breath of fresh air. Yeah.
Well, for us Aussies,
yeah.
what did we have? We had one of the Brabhams back in the 90s, which he didn't do too much, and we didn't have too much else. So for us, he was important.
Yeah. I think I figured out though why I don't like Max Verstappen.
Okay. Yep.
I think it's not Max Verstappen that I dislike; it's Jos Verstappen.
Yep. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
No
a bit of
argument.
an arse.
Yeah, he's built a reputation for himself, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and with that, the supercar season has finished as well, and Kashy won that. I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong, but
That's close.
Yeah, he secured that in Adelaide as well.
That was a great end to the season.
Yeah, because you had two drivers going for it.
Yeah, lead change right in the second last race.
Yep.
Disappointment for Van Gisbergen. He retired early.
He got clipped. Yeah. Do you see that crash?
I saw a highlight, but I can't remember it exactly.
Yeah, so I'm not going to get the drivers' names right, so I'm just going to say one car and the other, but they were just going around the outside. He's trying to go around the outside, and there was a barrier that comes in tighter on the exit of the corner, and he just got pinched between the car and the barrier, and then SVG got clipped.
That's a Saturday race?
Would have been, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that one. That was crazy. And the amount of damage from it as well.
Yeah.
Was pretty mental.
It'd be like a pinball in a pinball machine.
It almost looked like SVG's car was drivable again, but...
Yep, just sideways.
But he's off to do NASCAR now, which is quite interesting.
Yeah. So get the big bucks.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure NASCAR has one of the biggest audiences out there for racing. Maybe not as big as Formula One now with the revolution of Drive to Survive and whatnot, but that's a serious championship.
Yeah. I think it'll be really interesting because Max Verstappen on his sim time actually apparently plays a lot of Talladega trucks, NASCAR trucks.
Oh wow, yeah, that's cool.
So maybe there's a future crossover where Max Verstappen and Shane Van Gisbergen race each other in a truck.
All right. We're going to watch out for that one.
I'll be hyped up for that.
And we've spoken about truck racing before. Anything in the back?
No.
Do they have aero?
Oh, NASCAR trucks do.
Yep.
Super Utes don't.
Okay. Yep. Cool. And Super Utes, shout out to Adam Mardrum. He's another one from the Auto One fraternity. And in the last Adelaide race, I think he came third.
Yeah.
So
Super Utes, the new Super Utes category is, I really love the concept of it. I wish I could go and see it live.
Yeah, no, good racing.
6 litre V8 in a BT50.
Should happen more often.
Yeah, we'll do that in my ute
when
we get the time.
Oh dear. All right. Well, that's sport for the most part. And the other thing that we wanted to talk about was coming into Christmas and what happens a little bit differently during Christmas on the roads.
Yeah, a lot of road rage incidents popping up already.
Yep. You're noticing it already, hey?
Yeah, Britt was getting, my partner Britt was getting someone doing random shit in the parking lot last night. And
that's not good.
I was at the gym 2 weeks ago and someone, because my ute's a bit long, I had to go around an island to get back into the parking spot that I'd waited for.
Yep.
And someone just
in
a small car.
Yep.
Really rude. I don't like that. But have you been seeing anything strange?
No, not so much, but I can see how it happens. You know, there's a lot of stress coming around this time of year, a lot of cars on the road, all of that sort of stuff. So I guess the only message I can put out there is just, embrace the Christmas spirit of giving and maybe give the park to someone else, mate. Give it to that little car.
I didn't complain too much, but look, my hot tip for the episode is if you're going to the shops around Christmas, pay $8 and get the car valeted.
Yep.
I do it every
less
year.
Stress.
Yep.
Yep.
You drive into the valet bay, you're parked in 5 minutes, and if you value your time, that $8 really makes life a lot easier.
Yep. Yep.
So,
No, that's good. Good tip. I just go to the car wash ones, and if it's in the Mondeo, I don't really care about how the car's being washed. But if it's the other car, then I'm particular. I don't want them touching it. But
so you take the Mondeo for its monthly wash.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's right.
Actually, there's one thing that I did think about with with regards to parking around Christmas. It's how much more emissions must be created from everyone just sat in their car in parking lots,
waiting to get to the shops,
idling away.
Yeah. And are you the sort of person that will hold out and really hawk the top spot near the door? Or are you one that's happy to go upstairs out in the sun or a little bit to the side?
Just drive as far away as you can and work backwards.
Okay,
yeah.
All right, cool.
But that's a problem. Everyone is still waiting for that prime spot, which means you can't get out.
Yeah, I'm a prime spotter.
Yeah, well, you deserve it.
And I'll hawk it. I'll wait for someone to walk out and I'll follow them. And
yeah.
You can get some disappointment out there. You get people just putting the groceries in the car and going back for round two, and don't like that one bit.
Have to call you the vulture.
The vulture, yep. Watch out, I'll get you, park.
Yeah.
Actually, that was me in the little car. Yeah, I hired a little car. I saw your van doing a U-turn to get in there.
It would have been.
Got it.
Yeah. And then I would have felt really bad about it for 20 minutes.
Oh dear. Sorry, mate.
That's all right. But yeah, around Christmas, just be careful. Be safe.
Yep.
Don't be rude. Think nicely of people.
Yeah.
No matter what's happening, someone else is having a worse day than you are. So just let them be.
Be Santa Claus, not the Grinch.
Yeah.
Now, coming into Christmas, popular topic at the moment, cost of living crisis. It is something, and I think maybe we can talk a little bit more. We've spoken about trying to save fuel in the past, but I think we should talk a little bit about other things that we can do to try and save money that's car related.
Yeah, for sure. Have you had anything come up?
Yeah, well, we've spoken about the fuel, so we've sort of tapped out on that one. But probably one thing that, just say for us in the store, is that we'll have different levels of brands. And so, we just call it good, better, best.
Yeah.
And people do have their brand preferences, but if you come in and you're after something, sometimes there are cheaper options available, and you find that their warranty periods are much the same. Sometimes they're even owned by the same company.
Yeah.
So they're coming through their own processes. The more expensive products coming through as well. So there might be differences, but if you're looking for savings, there's that option as well.
Yeah, I think we've talked a little bit about this in the past with our comparison between Westfill and Ryco filters.
Yep.
And I think that pretty much stands. I find myself more often than not just buying the most bog standard sort of thing, not going because
close to factory sort of spec.
Yeah, if you look at K&N filters as one example, these are probably my least favourite filter around.
Yep.
So the oil filter's probably not so bad, they're just 3 times the price. But the air filters advertise a slight increase in engine performance.
Which goes back to what you were saying before about the 370Z. And
2 horsepower out of 380 or whatever it is. But the thing that bothers me with K&N filters is A, they're stupid expensive. B, they're very difficult to maintain, which means people don't.
Yeah, and to maintain correctly, so it's quite common to over oil them, and then you start coating your sensors and so on.
Yeah, that's bad. And then the last one that I dislike about K&N type filters, so just oiled mesh filters, is that they actually increase flow by decreasing filtration.
Yep.
So what you end up with is a slightly higher chance of getting dust particles through the motor.
Yep.
And I don't know why you would ever pay 8 or 10 times the price to have a worse filter.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. And if you want that engine to last the long term, I mean, it's an expensive upfront cost for that filter, and potentially down the road, if you do damage and you need to fix it through the bad filtration,
even
more costs down the road.
Like the argument against might be that cleaning and oiling might be cheaper than a replacement paper filter, but the cleaning and oiling kit is still like $45, and you might only get two changes out of that. So, as a whole, you're probably saving yourself $4 per cleaning cycle.
Yep.
Which means that you'll have to clean it like 100 times before you ever get your money back.
Yeah. You're probably not going to own the car long enough, or if you own the car that long, you're probably not driving it long enough, or enough to
with
really...
annual servicing.
Cleaning
it once a year.
So it's false economics saying that it's going to be cheaper in the long run.
But I quite like, even with tools, I buy less Snap-on than I've ever bought, and I'm trying out other brands because other brands tend to have not as good quality stuff, but good enough quality and interesting features.
Yeah, I think we have 4 or 5 different tool brands that we have in the store, 3 in a big way. And of those 3 that we have in a big way, they're all lifetime warranty on their hand tools.
Is that PK Tools one of them?
PK lifetime, King Chrome, on the hand tools, same as SP tools. And the PK stuff's been going pretty good actually.
I use a significant amount of, when I need a specialist tool, I use a significant amount of PK tools. They've got a fantastic range, and they're always increasing. And they're about
the range.
half of the price of an SP equivalent.
And probably a tenth of the price of a Snap-on. So
I got stung the old $150 pliers yesterday, which hurt before Christmas.
Yes,
But we've used them today, so at least they came in handy.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, that's the spark plug boot removers.
Special 45 degree for an LS.
That was a nice tool. The other thing, like from a retail perspective, you'll probably find a lot of retailers out there have a price match or price beat policy. So we do. So I suppose you can shop at a store that's convenient to you or that you like. You can get the prices that you see out there, but you just need to talk to them. Like, say for example, our store, we might have 40,000 products under the roof. And it's hard for us to maintain the pricing for all of those products. So we'll do a retail or what we feel is a market price, something that's relevant, we're happy. If someone sees our competitors doing a better price, we'll match it. No dramas.
Yeah, the one thing that I do appreciate though is, like, I would rather spend, say you got an oil filter, Westfill for Westfill, and yours is $14 and someone else's is $12. I would rather spend $2 extra to be with a company that I trust and with someone that's actually going to support me if it needs warranty. But I mean, price matching is great, and I always go, if you go to JB Hi-Fi or anything like that, I always just ask up front, hey, is there anything better you can do on this? I'm not going to be stressed if you can't. But
doesn't hurt to ask.
I'd appreciate that. There was a good podcast I was listening to once, and they said one of the biggest things you can do to sort of get over your own fear of interactions or whatever is go and ask for the next 10 purchases you make, just ask for a discount. You might get it 2% of the time or 20% of the time, but 20% makes a difference.
Yeah, that's right. Why not? Why not ask? I think that's a good idea. What about other things you can do to your car to maybe save fuel? And I'm thinking What was the thing they put in the HSVs or
Oh,
HGTs back in the day? The
crystal
optimizer,
equalizer or
something. The Peter Brock.
Yeah.
Yep, you know what I mean.
Well, I've got two things that will actually make a difference.
Okay.
Straight off the bat, make sure your under tray's in good condition.
Cool. Yep. So your aerodynamics.
Yep. Take off your rooftop tent when you're not using it.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. And look, I've got roof racks on my car at the moment. I'm not using them, so I should probably take them off and slicker through the air.
Well, I mean, you will use yours semi-regularly, right? No, you haven't?
Came with the car.
You might find that makes like half a litre per 100 difference.
And over a year, it adds up.
Yeah, I do 40,000 Ks a year.
Yep.
That's plenty of fuel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And the same, the under trays in particular, they help take out the turbulent air underneath the cars. Big difference. Yep. And one we've touched on probably a while ago, make sure that you're using the right grade oil for the car. Yep. My father had a Dodge Journey. They put a oil that was one weight too high in it.
Yep.
And his fuel economy jumped by a litre per 100.
Wow. And so what if your car has done a lot of kilometres? Would that justify going a little bit thicker?
Yes and no. It depends on. It really depends on how much wear that you've got.
Yep.
But one of the things that you can look at with that is talking to the oil manufacturer, Penrite, Newlon, whatever, doing an oil test. So we've actually been doing these.
With Newlon,
Yep. So we've done. I've done 4 of them now in my ute. You've done 1 in your car, so we're actually getting results back.
Yeah. So you've done 4.
I think I've done 3 or 4 now.
Okay. And how's the progress from one to the other, and what changes have you made?
Every service I'm doing 11,000 kilometres.
Yep.
And every service I'm changing the brand of oil. So I think we've tried a Atlantic, which is a brand I'd normally use. Yep. A Penrite, which is the brand we use at work. And that sort of rattled a little bit. And I think the Penrite burnt a little bit extra oil.
Okay.
And we've done the Newlon, which was equal with the Atlantic.
Okay, cool.
So we'll get the numbers all broken down and we'll do up a chart.
That's an interesting test.
Yeah. So I think the next we've got is a peak lubricants. Yep. And then we'll see if we do a bottom barrel after that.
Or maybe we do an episode where we go a little bit deeper into those findings.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Cool. All right. Well, that's a couple of tips, and we might leave it there, and maybe it's something that we just pick up on every now and again to add more insight there.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, cool. Now on the cost of living, the government in Victoria added to the cost of living for people with EV cars. They added an extra tax. What do you say? A road usage tax?
Yep. I think that's what they called it even.
A road tax, and so that has come. That they, I can't find the proper words to use, but it's been like unlawful the way they introduced it.
Unconstitutional or something.
Yeah, and they've been forced to reverse it. And not only have they reversed those taxes that they charged the Victorian public, but they've paid back interest on top. And this has been a total of $7 million.
Yeah, I think quite a few people are getting a Christmas bonus this year.
Yeah. So,
I actually, to be completely honest with you, I don't disagree with the idea of taxing EV owners. Like, we tax petrol at the pump, we tax diesel at the pump, we tax people for road usage anyway.
So you don't do it through the rego?
Well, doing it through the rego would be fine with me. It's just, in this situation, the EV owners thought that it was unfair. And as a whole, paying extra tax doesn't do anything bad for the country. I
think so long as it's used
in the right way,
productively. If it doesn't get wasted, then it's okay. And so long as they're not disguising it as, like, say for example, we've got a pretty strong sensation that speeding fines here in Queensland are used for other uses.
But if they'd use that $7 million to go out and build more charging stations, No
more
complaints.
charging stations, better roads that can handle the extra weight
Yeah.
of these EV vehicles, because that's a significant
Put an
change.
EV hybrid lane in
Yep.
somewhere, that's a $7 million cost, and it's paid for itself.
7 million, that'll just get you a few car parks at
Yeah.
your local station, so you don't have to dodge those little cars that
Yeah.
take you to parks. Yeah, but no, and look, on the other side, so here's the clincher. So with all of this that's happening in Victoria, New South Wales is going the other way. They're introducing a similar tax in 2027.
Yeah.
So watch this space. Will they keep it or will they drop it after?
Be interested to see. I think that it's completely fair. EVs have tons of subsidies at the moment anyway, so paying a little bit of extra tax is not going to hurt anyone. It's just there's really,
not much sympathy there when they're getting from one side but giving to the other.
There's a really great quote. I can't remember who said it, but it was someone who was testifying to the American Congress, and he said, "I'm happy to pay as much tax as I am rightly meant to. My job is to make sure, your job is to write the laws about the tax to make sure that I pay tax, and my job is to make sure that my business expenses are as little as possible."
Yep.
And the mid ground is in between that. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, it makes sense. Cool. All right. Well,
On to the next thing.
on to recalls.
Yeah, we've got
Take
a
it
couple
away.
of pretty interesting ones this
Yeah.
time. The first one that I want to bring up is something really kind of devastating. We've had another death from a Takata airbag, which this is a recall that's been going on for how long now?
Yeah, it's been years.
Yeah, 10 or
years
15
and
years.
Yeah. So maybe to give people a little bit of a background, Takata make seatbelts and safety systems in car, airbags.
Yeah.
Yep. And what was the problem?
So the Takata airbag explosive device discharge was a metal canister, and in a range of vehicles, almost every vehicle on the road had some sort of this, whatever they call it, inflator. They were susceptible to rust on the exterior casing,
Ooh, yep.
which made them
Bit of an oversight. Yep.
which made them incredibly weak. And then when the airbag would go off finally in a crash, the rust would turn it into shrapnel instead.
Oh.
So instead of an airbag, people got grenades.
Oh, that is not good.
So there's been a number of recorded deaths and injuries. And this has been going around, like when I was an apprentice at Hyundai, Nissan, all that 7 years ago,
Yep.
we were doing Takata airbags on N16 Pulsars every day. We were doing D22 Navaras, patrols.
That was life. Just
Every single
changing
day.
them over. Yep.
Yeah. And the fact that we're still seeing... Here's the crazy thing. The person that has suffered from this injury had received over 100 warnings to get this airbag replaced.
Wow. Okay. So, they should have put the correct product that doesn't rust and doesn't
from
give
factory.
shrapnel from factory. But cars aren't perfect, and I think if you get a warning, it is worth checking.
Yeah, or even go and check. Most manufacturers have a recall website themselves where you can type in your rego or VIN and find out
that's a good idea.
if there's a recall active.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Because, so this was a Chrysler 300. This person, I don't know, it sort of sounds like negligence, right, to ignore 100 warnings. The last person who died from a Takata airbag recall had a Honda Civic, and they'd ignored 300.
300, yep.
300 individual, like, letters, emails, calls, warnings, whatever.
Yep.
That's, like, it's not asking for it, but it's such a bad thing.
No, it's terrible. And I'm just trying to think it from the other side. Maybe they're not receiving the mail, or the phone number's changed, or whatever.
100%.
So maybe that website is a fantastic suggestion, because it might not be the airbag. It might be, like, we've got another example where it's tint, or it's a fuel hose that's exposed or something like that.
Are you leading into our next one?
Well, yeah, treat it as a segue if you like. But no, I think it's good that people know that there are these resources out there where you can check your car, just for a peace of mind.
Yeah, and look, even if you're not 100% handy with the internet, or you're a little bit concerned, or you can't find anything, you should be able to call up your original dealership, or any dealership for that matter, ask them to check your VIN for any recalls.
Yep, give them your VIN or your rego,
and it's fair, because a lot of the cars that we've owned, second hand, third hand, fourth hand, they might still be sending mail to the first owner.
Yep, for sure.
While they shouldn't be, they might be.
Yeah.
Or I've got cars that are registered to an address that I don't live at, because that's where the business is registered.
Yep.
Right. So if we're getting recall notices to there, we're not
might be a delay or something like that.
For a few days or something.
Yeah. I've got a airbag story for you actually. So there's a family member of mine had an airbag go off, and I'm not sure if I don't think it was a bad crash or anything like that, but enough for the airbag to go off. But their arm was above the wheel like that. Broke their arm. I've heard of other ones, where you get people in the passenger seat put their feet up on the dash and all that sort of stuff. So beware of airbag locations. It's probably another lesson.
That's one of the things that makes me. It's not the ick, but it's one of those things where you see it and you feel the physical pain, or you think about the physical pain.
Because they go off like a shotgun.
Yeah. So, have you ever had road rash or anything like that?
No.
No. Every time I see a motorcyclist wearing t-shirt, no gloves, whatever, like I had road rash.
Cringe.
Yeah, I can feel it through my body, like the sense of it. And every time I see someone with their legs up on the dash, it gives me the ick. Just 100% the ick. And it's disrespectful too.
To the car and the car's owner.
Yeah, but one of the updated driving driving recommendations now, I think when you would have learnt to drive, it would have been 10 and 2. I think they've moved it down to 9 and 3 now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because your hands are
good time of day.
not as much on top of the wheel.
Yep.
So when you get in a crash, the airbag just pushes everything down.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. What about you get like that and then you hold it at the bottom?
Yeah.
What's that? 6.
Yeah, that's.
Is that okay?
I do it. Must be fine. No, the one other thing that I'll mention about driving position: people that sit with the seat leaned way too far back.
Yeah. Yep.
That one scares me.
Damage your neck or something like that.
Well, the problem with it is that you can slip under the seatbelt.
Ooh, yeah.
That's why race cars have.
That's no good.
Why race cars have 5-6
points.
Harnesses.
Yep.
Is because they come up between the groin, so you can't slip forward under.
It must be painful down there if you get a crash.
I think you'd rather it hold you in.
Yeah, survive it. Yeah. I'll tell you what, if I was a race car driver, and I'm not far off, I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
I've been playing Gran Turismo, I'm all right. I would be fearing for my boy's life in an accident situation. I would be the safest driver on the track. I would come last on purpose just to save the boys.
No. It's not so bad. I was just thinking though, with the way Formula 1 drivers sit.
Yep.
Because if you're upright,
they're quite low, yeah.
Yeah, most of it comes through your shoulders and torso.
Yep.
But the Formula 1 drivers sit reclined.
Yep.
And that must
all
actually
down there.
Yeah.
What if they wear a cup or something like cricketers?
20 Gs of
deceleration.
Yeah.
Now, next time you're watching Formula 1 or one of those racing series, just think about it and think about the pitch of the voice.
The yelp that they make.
Yeah. If it's a little high, they've been in an accident recently. Yeah. Where were we going with this one? We had a segue and I ruined it.
Going back on it, but the segue was there's tint problems and fuel line problems.
Okay, tint. Yep. Okay, let's talk about tint.
This is a pretty crazy one. 5,053 Hondas were recalled from the model year 2021-22.
Okay. Yep.
Because from the factory, their tint was too dark.
Cool. I want that car.
Nothing more to say about that.
I like a dark tint.
I do like a dark tint. I think our rules are a bit not good on it. I think we should be allowed a bit darker.
Right. Yeah. Why not? And I suppose it's always the argument that if you get pulled over, someone cop tests you for tint or whatever it is on your car that's not quite right, and you just use the argument, well, there's a way it came from the factory, you let them sell the car this way.
But you can
But in
still
this
get
case,
ticketed for it.
you couldn't have that argument.
Well, you could 100% still get ticketed for that because because it's the driver's responsibility, not the factory's responsibility.
And what that was like a Honda Civic or something?
Honda Civic and CRV, I think.
Yeah, I reckon Snoop Dogg would be getting around in a Honda Civic then. Don't want people to see what you're doing.
Good economy car.
Yeah.
But look, I've gone one shade darker than I should have before, and I loved it for driving. It was fine at day, it was fine at night. The only time it wasn't okay was reversing at night with no lights behind you.
Yep.
It's embarrassing to say, even when it was raining, I'd have to put the windows down.
Pop the head out.
Well, because the tint was so dark, I'd have to put the mirror.
I see you see the mirrors out.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Just because the driveway was so dark.
Yep.
So,
on mirrors, what do you think about the Japanese mirrors? You know how that you got your normal mirrors there, but they got one like way down there.
Yeah, the fender mirror.
Yeah.
I like it. I love how it looks. I don't know how well it works.
Okay.
But they do the parking mirror on the front sometimes, and they also do the rear parking mirror on the vans.
Oh, they have a. Oh, okay. Yes, yeah, I know what you mean.
You've seen them?
On the vans. Yep.
But my favourite little Japanese thing is the parking pole.
Oh, so you can locate where the edge of your car is. Yeah.
I want to get one of those for my ute, for Britt's car, for everything.
I can sort you out, mate. We got some coat hangers.
We'll do it in a little shape of Australia.
Yeah, that's right. Bring it back.
Yeah.
We don't get enough of that these days.
You wanted to bring up one more recall with me.
Yeah, well, because it's a popular vehicle within our customers is the D-Max, and 2021 through to 23, a number of these D-Maxes, the fuel line, it runs across one of the engine oil level brackets, and it rubs.
I think what they're trying to say is the fuel line goes past the dipstick.
There you go.
Yeah, that's just a fancy way of saying it.
and it's rubbing on it. Fuel exposed, fire.
Yeah.
You got a fire risk.
Yeah, I can't remember if they run the fuel filter and fuel lines up on the left side of the car, which I think might be the exhaust side. So very dangerous.
Yeah. There you go. What a fantastic piece of
crazy
packaging.
Because diesel as it stands is a lot less combustible than you expect.
Yep.
But at the same time,
bit harder to put out.
When it's vaporized, just about everything's combustible. Yeah. Power steering fluid, brake fluid.
Yep.
Coolant's combustible, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is like the opposite.
Don't drink, don't light on fire.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I think we've touched on all of the recalls that we wanted to touch on.
Yeah, you've got some.
So we've got some products.
Cool stuff here. Where do you want to start?
Start on your side. Let's have some fun. So this is
smallest thing we've got.
Yeah, this is from King Chrome and keyring / I think it might be a 10mm.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Ratcheting.
I'd buy that without the keyring.
It's fantastic. You can get in small places with it and feel it. It's tight. It's a nice piece of kit.
King Chrome's advertised for ages how small their what do they call it? Clickback angle.
Right. Okay. Like the teeth or something like that.
Free movement angle.
Yep.
And this is tight as a.
It feels nice. Yeah. Yep.
And very handy to have. There's not a lot of things you can't do with a 10mm and some ingenuity.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you're working on cars, you're going out camping, you're driving in the bush, you're in a situation where this might come in handy. You're just hanging off you're never going to lose it unless you lose your keys. So you've always got a 10mm on the ready.
It's one of those things you will likely never need, but when you do, you will need
best thing ever.
This.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly this. And I've got stubby spanners, and I've never needed them. And then once, I needed it, and nothing else would do.
Life-saving.
And I was very happy I had them.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
But even for checking spark plugs, coil packs, because most coil packs have a 10mm thing.
Yep.
If you need to do something, just great. And the only thing it's missing as a Christmas present is if one end was a 10mm, the other was a bottle opener.
You're the second person in a row to say that. To me. Yep. So there you go. King Chrome, take that on board. Bottle opener and ratcheting 10mm. That's what we want. But no,
put the,
it's fantastic, and I'm not sure if you can hear the teeth on this thing. Like, it sounds tight. There's a little bit of movement in there, but this thing, you've got such little leverage on there. You're going to struggle to do damage to it.
That's just for the basics. But you know what they could have done? Cut a notch out of the thing, and that would have been.
Yep.
So
Why not?
Same thing.
Yep.
But bottle opener as
Cool.
well.
So that's first up. Second up, well, I suppose this might fit in a similar sort of category. And I wanted your opinion on these things. So this is a magnetic guard protector. So when you're working on the car, you don't want to damage it.
How big is it?
Let's have a look. 2-year warranty. I'm not sure what could go wrong. Yeah, I'm not sure what could go wrong with these things. But anyway. So there we go. So that's the soft material on one side.
Yep.
And then you've got your vinyl on the other. This is an impact one. This is one that we sell.
Yep.
Got your magnets on there as well. What are your thoughts? Do you use these things?
Not for day-to-day servicing. So a lot of an old guy I was working with said if you had to use this, you weren't being careful enough.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
but if I've got special cars or something that I'm working on that I need to do a lot of work on, like the Porsche we're pulling apart at the moment, I 100% these, especially if you've got really wide guards that you've got to lean over.
Yep. And if you're wearing a belt with a big buckle.
Yeah, that's I never wear a belt with a metal buckle just because of that. I always tools are behind me or in a safe space because of that. I'm just too worried about. The only thing I'd say about this is the vinyl's a bit thin.
Yep.
But
cool.
Otherwise, fine. Perfectly passable. It's one of those things where what could go wrong with it?
Yeah, no, it's funny they have the warranty on there, but
Yeah.
anyway, it's comes down to people trying to save money. That's something where maybe something like this breaks in 2 years' time or something like that. That's they don't cost much, but that's money that you don't have to spend if you can claim a warranty. So hold on to your receipts as well.
A few times we've said now about things that I choose to do because I'm worried about damaging cars or spilling oil over the driveway or all that sort of stuff. So like wearing gloves, putting down cardboard.
Yep.
If you care about your car, spend $30 so that what you're doing is not going to ruin the car.
Yeah.
It's a simple thing. And
maybe clean the panel that you're going to pop this over, because if the panel's dirty and gritty and you have this rubbing on it, you could scratch it. So that's the word of advice I can give.
Yep.
Next, I've got here. This is. I just wanted something different, something that we haven't shown on here yet, but something that's still interesting, and this is for the four-wheel drive crowd. So it's a SAS dual reading gauge, and it's got exhaust temperature.
Yep.
And it's got boost.
I was looking at one of these just the other week online.
Yep.
I'd very much like to have one of these. What are these worth at the moment?
I wouldn't even know.
Well, I saw that was 29. And I'm going to assume that's a stocking stuffer.
That's about 15. I'm guessing because it's got the two functions, that might be over 100.
Should we take the prices right on this? I'd call it between 150 and 175.
Yeah, I think it's less than that. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it might be close to 150.
Yeah. EGR readout, exhaust temperature readout, and a boost gauge. That's very good. For $150, I'm sure it comes with like most of the kit to set it up as well. Yep,
your sensors and whatnot. What would you look for with exhaust temperature? When would you get worried?
Depends on the car. So I've been just doing a course about this, and I was learning plenty about it. I'm not a diesel tuning expert by far, but I think they were saying, I can't remember if it was Fahrenheit or Celsius, but I think they were saying 750, 800 consistent, when your sensor's close to the exhaust manifold, right, is okay, like passable, but once you're getting up to like 900, 1,000, that's where you're getting troubles, you can only be there for a short period.
Ah, okay, that's when it's
Yeah.
starting to run away on you.
But I think for a standard car, I guess they're probably running 650s or something.
Mm-hmm.
Something nice and low, but the temperature that you're reading changes drastically based on where the sensor is in the exhaust manifold.
Yeah.
So try it out for yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
So get to know like a baseline temperature, and then you can establish once it starts starting to get a bit high over that point.
100%.
Yep.
I guess probably the safest thing to do is talk to an expert in tuning. But my guesstimate would be whatever your base tune is, whatever your base map runs at temperature wise, 10% higher is going to be like pretty safe.
Yep. Cool. Okay, very good. And then on to the last one. So this is an AirPro 7-inch wireless smartphone monitor.
Now I'm kind of bothered that you didn't tell me you'll get these in.
This is hot off the press. It's only just come in.
Just gone and bought one of these for Brit for Christmas.
Yep.
Through a less reputable brand.
Yep.
I think their store was ozstore.com.
And when they have a name like that, you know they're not Oz.
Yeah.
There's someone else trying to dress up as Oz.
Yeah, I think they specifically advertised that it was an Australian-owned company.
Yeah.
They didn't say anything about the screens.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, because they can't.
But AeroPro, we've got some of this stuff in the Ute.
Yep. Your multi-adapter for your cigarette lighter is
Do you want to run us through what's going on here?
Well, this is the first time for me using it, but obviously it is in the name. It's a 7-inch screen. We've got a bracket there for mounting. These will be touch screen. I should double check. Yep, touch screen display. Yep, IPS touchscreen display, so a good touchscreen display, not a crappy resistive one. This is a mounting bracket that you'd put on your dash. Looks like a double-sided tape job going on there, but also has screw points as well, so versatile there. This looks like, this is your reverse camera, so it's a wired reverse camera. You got to run that. Did yours come with a reverse camera?
Yeah, it did. It was like $50 option.
Oh, yep, cool.
But this is great. I think mine actually, the one we've got doesn't use the 3.5 jack for reverse. I think it uses a old VGA style connector.
Oh, okay,
Which is a bit different. So,
look, much and muchness. So yeah, that just plugs in. That's probably just a smaller, neater plug. You got that right angle there, which is nice.
That's actually...
You probably just hook that power up to your reverse light.
That'll be like a 2.5 or a 2 mil jack or something. It's much smaller.
It is quite small, yeah.
So you can't even get it mixed up.
Yeah, you can't pop in the wrong hole, no. Oh yeah, and there you go. So that's... Okay, so with these devices, I'm supposing that they're expecting that you've got maybe a single DIN non-multimedia unit in the car, and you'd plug that into there so you can get the sound from this into your car sound system.
Yeah, so I think that might be the only difference between the one that I bought online from who knows where.
Yep.
Is that I think it can Bluetooth out as well.
Okay.
But
yep. Well, this has got Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, so it's got the connectivity there.
But the cool thing about this is it's actually wireless. I think it's wireless CarPlay as well.
Yep.
And not only is it wireless CarPlay, it has a SD slot in it as well, so it's capable of just putting music straight on it.
256 gig you can fit in there.
Yep.
Let's have a quick look here. It's got a built-in speaker, but that's going to be rubbish. It's got a built-in microphone, so for your hands-free calling, it's going to be useful. You can adjust the angle. Yep, sure. It's got an FM transmitter built into it, so that's really good.
That's the one.
Yep. The reverse camera, while I haven't plugged it in and tried it, it is saying it is high def.
Yep.
Not all reverse cameras are. Most aren't, so that's quite good.
It's also got, for a reverse camera, it's got a nice big lens on it. Which most of them are.
So it should do well in low light conditions as well if it's got a large lens on it. But yeah, these things remain to be tested. So once we know, and it does wireless Android Auto. Looks like Apple CarPlay as well. So it was really good. Wireless. What I've noticed with the wireless CarPlay is my phone heating up a lot. So one thing for consideration, it's obviously using a lot of battery. So when you're doing that, just plug it in with a power and keep it over your aircon vent or something.
I recently got a different setup, which is a wireless CarPlay adapter in my ute.
Yep.
From unknown brand. But they also sold me a wireless charger at the same time. So when I get in the car, I really like it as a system. I just pop it on the mount and it wirelessly charges and wirelessly CarPlays.
Yep.
But as far as it goes, like Britt drives 10, 15 minutes to and from work. Mm-hmm. Her phone's always charged when she leaves the house. Yep. And she's got a secondary charger in the car.
Cool. Yep.
Right? Like, having that on the dash means that we don't have to buy the binnacle, the surround. Because that was the biggest thing stopping
What car
us.
is it?
Liberty.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know on some of those Subarus, they have some electronics built into the surround, and it's very expensive to replace.
That's hers. I think it's like a $600.
Yep, sounds right. Yep. I think Stinger do it. Yep.
Surround, which really, it's the thing we've been putting off for years, and she keeps going, I want CarPlay, I want this, I want that.
There you go.
That's why I put it down in my notes, and that's what we got this year.
Oh, I think they're a fantastic thing. The thing I would be testing on it straight away is how quick it is to start up and how quick it is to pick up the reverse camera. Yeah. Because I've had a similar system to this in the years ago, probably about 5 years ago. So things have come along since then. Yep. I noticed it was slow doing those two things.
The only thing is, it's not a 100% straightforward, easy install because the only if you're going to use the reverse camera, you do have to tap into a wire for the reverse signal. Yep. But that's not difficult. You might even be able to do that off of a reverse light bulb.
Yep, that's all it needs.
Yeah.
In most cases. So that's what it looks like anyway. Cool piece of kit. We might do a little bit more testing and let you know the results. I mean, like for me, in an older car where you don't want to chop up a dash to put in a doubled-in head unit or multimedia kit, something like this, I wouldn't screw it in. I might not even stick it on the dash because I don't want it leaving resin. But I might find a way to. I know. I'd have a look. Cup. Yeah, maybe a suction cup or something like that. Looks like this is on a ball there, so I could probably take this bracket off and find other ways to mount it that suits me. Where I can just pop it on the car, take it off. I probably wouldn't use the reverse camera, but for people who are interested in wireless reverse cameras, and we do get asked for it. And there's not really been great solutions out there. Like there's been wireless reverse cameras that get interference. So driving on power lines or whatever it is, and they start playing up, and they're not always seamless in the way they work, and the quality's not great. But Oricom has come out with a reverse camera that is wireless, true wireless, battery one. Yep. And you can just pop it on, connect it to your phone. Quality it's pretty big, it's chunky, but the quality looks pretty good. New product we've just got in ourselves, so we'll maybe that's one we bring in for a future show.
I would like to check out Oricom versus GME for the CBs as well.
Yep. What would you be comparing?
Just usability, ease. I'd probably be comparing price and warranty or price and reliability.
Yep. Yeah, so the XRS units by GME are fantastic, but they're a higher price point. Yep. I don't think Oricom really have anything that compares to it. The thing I like with the XRS style unit is that I can hide the body. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Oh, and Oricom will have a solution like that as well. So, all right, well, that's
I think that's
future show.
A couple of videos we can do. Yeah. We'll pop this in a car. Something that doesn't have. Does a Mondeo have CarPlay? Yep. We'll find one of the.
Look, I'm going to grab this unit myself and I'm going to have a play. So. Yeah.
Let's do a video on that, Actually,
Pop it in the Vipes and see how it goes.
Brett's car. Brett's Cars doesn't have any. I'll bring it down in a few weeks and
I
we'll.
thought you've got the other one.
I've bought it. I haven't put it in yet.
Ah, right.
Christmas
You
present.
could do a side-by-side comparison.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
And then let's have a chat about CBs in the truck.
Cool. All right. Done. Next episode. Well, on that note, I think we've exhausted everything that we had here to talk about and to show.
Spent plenty of time talking about plenty of car things.
Yeah, and Lachlan's beard's got about that much longer throughout the show. He's morphing into Santa Claus for the Christmas period.
Yeah, I'm just missing the greys.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to go with young Santa.
Yeah. Like young Sheldon.
These years ago we had a car show and we had a Christmas car show and we had Santa Claus, actual Santa Claus himself, come in.
Yep.
And I was sitting on the couch, getting my photo next to him, and he said, "You know, when I was your age, I looked just like you."
Oh no. Was that a bit of an insult?
Yeah. It's like, oh, this is a pathway. Oh dear. All right, guys, have a great Christmas, and we'll see you on the other side of the New Year's.